Defense trending up, Clark's got hardware, and Connecticut's the exam room. Let's see if Indiana's actually studied. If you're just catching up, Indiana's been trying to manage star availability without letting the playoff push stall. Clark came back from a back issue on a minutes restriction. Aaliyah Boston landed on the report as questionable with a right lower leg issue. And with Clark, the debate is how much you pile on before the break.
This is Indiana Fever Daily. Tonight, the Sun as a stress test, a Player of the Week award, and a front court scratch nobody's talking about yet. Buckle up. If Fever Star Injury Watch matters to you, hit follow. We'll be back on it soon.
From CBS Sports.
Defensive improvement has contributed to the Indiana Fever's current stretch of success. Aiming for a third straight win, the Fever look to continue that stinginess in Indianapolis on Wednesday night against the Connecticut Sun, one of WNBA's lowest-scoring teams. Indiana, 16-10, averages a league-high 94.4 points, but ranks near the bottom defensively, giving up 89.7 per contest. However, amid a 6-2 stretch, the Fever have held 6 opponents to 89 or fewer points.
For once, I want to start with the defense, and CBS Sports gave us the hook. The Fever are giving up 89.7 a night, but they've held 6 of their last 8 opponents under 90. That's a real shift.
And the Sun are the right lab test for it. Connecticut's one of the lowest scoring teams in the league, 719 coming in. If Indiana clamps them, is that the defense or just the opponent?
Right, but look at the June 13th tape. 9 Sun points in a second quarter, 5 of 17 from 3. Indiana already did this to them once on the road. Tonight tells you if it travels back home.
Stephanie White basically said the quiet part. They know they can score 94 a night. The other end is what decides what this season becomes. That 30-12 third quarter run against the Liberty, that's the offense. Getting stops is the newer piece. From Josh Bodie at Wish TV.
Fever guard Caitlin Clark is listed as probable, and Fever center Damiris Dantas is listed as out for the team's game against the Connecticut Sun on Wednesday. Clark has played in 4 straight games for the Fever. She is averaging 20.7 points, 3.9 rebounds, and 7.8 assists per game this season, and was named the Eastern Conference Player of the Week on Tuesday.
Update on the Fever injury watch. Clark's probable with the back. Dantas is out against Connecticut. Clark has played 4 straight now, so probable is starting to look like a formality more than a coin flip.
Dantas is the one I'm actually chewing on. She's a reserve, 12 games, 3.5 a night. But she's a body in the front court, and the Sun will punish you inside if your paint depth gets thin.
So the availability question is pretty concrete tonight. Which minutes get thin behind the starters, and does Weatherspoon have a real answer for Connecticut's size?
And it's funny. Clark's averaging 20.7, 7.8 assists, just took Player of the Week, and the report still says probable. The body's clearly producing whatever the paperwork wants to call it.
Here's Indiana Fever.
Indianapolis, July 21st, 2026. Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark has been named the Eastern Conference Player of the Week for Week 5 of the 2026 WNBA season, it was announced today. Clark scored a cumulative 75 points this past week, the second most scored by any player in the Eastern Conference, and the 4th most points scored in the WNBA over the span.
Caitlin Clark, Eastern Conference Player of the Week for Week 5, her second of the season. 75 points on the week, 25 a night, and 7.6 assists per game, 3rd highest in the league. The numbers stand on their own. You don't need to dress it up as MVP chatter.
And what I like about the timing, this covers the whole week, including that 17 and 7 turnovers night we picked apart. So the voters weren't just dazzled by the 45. They weighed the arc. That's a fairer read than most award cycles give her.
The 45 against Seattle is the headline piece of it. Franchise record and the first 40-point, 10-assist game in WNBA history. That's the resume item that carries the ballot.
Fastest to 200 threes, too, in 74 games. But here's the tension I keep sitting with. This hardware lands the same week Kelsey Mitchell's dropping back-to-back 30s. The league's publicly stamping Clark as the face, while Mitchell's carrying so much of the scoring.
And you can see the team's own framing when they run the last possession. The official release makes the point pretty quietly.
And it backs up the probable again read from earlier. If there's a restriction lingering, it sure isn't showing up in the box score.
Got thoughts on today's episode? A fever story we should chase? Or a correction we need to make? Send us a note at Indiana Fever Daily Fancast at lanternpodcasts.com. What we're watching next. Fever Sun tips at 8 p.m. Wednesday at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, Indiana's final game before the All-Star break. If you want to dig back into anything we touched on today, we've linked every story in the show notes. Take a look there for the pieces that caught your ear. That's Indiana Fever Daily Podcast for today. This is a Lantern Podcast.